Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 12 from Marvel Comics. This issue was crazy. I was not expecting it to go where it went, but it was awesome. So most of this is basically just a Christmas party, which is perfectly timed for the holidays. Yeah, we have Uncle Ben, we have J. Jonah Jameson arriving at the party, and we have, of course, Mary Jane, Peter, their kids. We have MJ's mom, MJ's aunt, MJ's sister, and it's basically just your regular family get together. Mary Jane's kind of like struggling with the food, even though it's all like finger foods and stuff that she's ordered out, and all you got to do is heat it up. She's still struggling because she's not a cook. We have Mary Jane and her mom kind of having issues because her mom is one of those, like, she's multiple times divorced. She wasn't really a mom to MJ growing up. So even here, we have her constantly kind of picking at MJ's lack of cooking skills. Like basically saying, like, do you need help? You know, what I meant was this is a lot for someone who doesn't cook, won't cook, can't cook, whichever it is. Kind of things like that. We do have like a moment where May shows up. I like her little antlers that she's wearing. And she asks her mom if she can play games on her phone. And I'm like, okay. As someone who has like a lot of little cousins, that's basically how it is. Hey, you got any games on your phone? We even have like a weird moment where MJ's mom is asking MJ about Uncle Ben and if he's seeing anybody. And MJ is like, his wife just died recently, like a couple of months ago. Don't go there. Which would be very, very weird. Like, how would that work out if Mary Jane's mom started going out with Uncle Ben, and let's say that they ended up getting married? It's not going to happen, but let's just say it happened. How does that affect the relationship between Mary Jane and Peter Parker, since it's both of their blood relatives that are getting married to each other? That'd be very, very weird. But we have just a situation where MJ starts burning the food, and Peter goes to help. And there's this interesting thing that I kind of noticed, but it didn't really bother me until later on. Well, I don't want to say it didn't bother me, but it didn't trigger until later on. And as you're reading this, you'll notice that Peter never says anything. He never says a word. And I was like, that's kind of weird because it's Peter Parker. Peter Parker likes to mouth off, whether it's cracking jokes or just being, you know, a dad or whatever. Peter likes to talk. He likes the sound of his own voice. So to have him just be completely quiet, kind of interesting. Also like the fact that he's wearing Secret Santa on his sweater while MJ has Mrs. Claus. And I'm like, I wonder if that was intentional, the Secret Santa. So yeah, May's playing on MJ's phone. Mary Jane's sister comes and kind of like says, hey, do you remember me? And May's like, yeah, your Aunt Gail, mom's sister. I've seen lots of pictures. And Gail's like, but you don't remember me. And that's when MJ's like, of course she doesn't. She hasn't seen you since you were 2. And don't act like it's on her to not, that she doesn't remember you. And Gwen calls and Mary Jane's like, just leave it to voicemail. And then they kind of chat, Mary Jane and her sister. It turns out that the problem between the two of them is that when Mary Jane was first dating Peter, Gail basically says that you're too good for Peter. You're setting your expectations low by settling for him. And then later on when she was pregnant with Peter's kids, she basically said you're going to make this relationship permanent if you have his kids. So yeah, kind of a dick thing to say to your relative, to your sibling. But we just have just a lot of like family chit chat going on, skipping a bunch of stuff. We have a moment where Mary Jane basically decides to kind of vent to Peter about her mom, about the fact that her mom shows up with no warning, no heads up, and then acting like she's the one that's been put out. Her sister as well, the fact that she hasn't talked to her sister in years, and that her sister's still spouting the same garbage about how Peter is too unworthy of Mary Jane, and that, you know, you're going to be having a boring life with boring family and if you stick with Peter and stuff. And Mary Jane kind of figures out all this on her own, like where she's venting, but as she's venting, she's like, you know, why do I invite them? Why do I always invite them? Because I don't want it to be this way, and I have hope for something better. And then she says, yeah, of course, thanks, you're the best, as she kisses Peter on the cheek. And again, I noticed, and I thought it was just like a little funny gag that Peter didn't say anything throughout this entire thing. He just let his wife vent, and then she came to the conclusion all on her own. But this is actually going to play a part later on. We have a moment where Richard and J. Jonah Jameson are like chatting with each other. Richard's talking about how he finished J. Jonah Jameson's book, and they're kind of talking about, Richard's like, you know, I had some questions about chapter 14, and that's finding love in, New York, and they just kind of chat. And like, I really enjoyed the relationship between the two of them. It's nice to see like this version of J. Jonah Jameson. Not to get like, don't get me wrong, I love classic J. Jonah Jameson and his crazy, like almost Alex Jones like personality. But I like this too, where he's still like kind of narcissistic and kind of a hard ass, but you can see a softer side, especially when it comes to Richard. And I like their relationship, like just the friendship that they have. I liked his relationship with Uncle Ben and the friendship that they have. Like it's a nice, interesting take on J. Jonah Jameson. We have a moment where Mary Jane takes her sister to the side and basically asks her, it tells her like, "Hey, I love you, and this nonsense between us, I wanted to stop, but you got to meet me halfway. Why are you here?" That's when she reveals that her husband's been cheating on her for years, and people knew, and that she's just angry and embarrassed. May comes to interrupt the conversation briefly to say that Gwen's calling again, and Mary Jane's like, "Just ignore her and I'll call her when I'm done." And they're kind of able to make up, Mary Jane and her sister. Basically, the reason her sister is here because her sister wanted to compare her relationship with Mary Jane's. Like, she figured, well, I'm going through a divorce, it sucks. But maybe if I go and I see that Mary Jane is annoyed and unhappy with her boring husband and her boring kids and her boring life, then that will make things better for me. And then she realized that that's not the case, that Mary Jane is happily married and happy to be a mom with amazing kids and stuff. Yeah, she just kind of feels bad about it. And they're kind of able to make up. The sister apologizes. Things are good. I'll be skipping some more stuff. I like this, how we have this like image where everyone's kind of happy. Everyone's has smiles on their faces. They're taking family photo. And it says happiness is surrounded by people you love. And then that's when we get the twist. Because I thought, okay, that's the end right there. But I was like, but there's still more pages left. And I'm going to be spoiling this issue. So if you don't want spoilers, just stop here. I always leave chapters in my description. You can jump to my my final thoughts on this issue. But yeah, May basically says, "Hey, Mom, she's calling again." And so Mary Jane answers. And Gwen is like, "I've been trying to reach you. I'm losing my mind here. Is Peter there? Does he know?" And Mary Jane's like, "Hey, Peter, come with me. Something's up." And they go into their room. And she puts Gwen on speaker. And Gwen says, "I'm at our house for the holidays. I had a meeting out of town, so I came straight here. And Harry was supposed to drive up, but he didn't show up. That was 6 days ago, and I can't reach him. Does Peter have any idea where he's at?" And Mary Jane's like, "Peter, like, did you hear what she's saying?" And that's when she knows that there's something wrong with Peter. And that's when some of the symbiote starts appearing out of his back. And Peter finally says something. He says, "Merry Christmas," and it's not his voice. And I was like, so that's why Peter didn't say anything throughout the entire chapter until now. I was wondering why he was so quiet. And I thought, oh, it's just a little funny gag like with him and his wife where she was like unloading on him and then she ends up coming to like a conclusion without needing help, but she thanks him anyways. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of sweet and kind of funny. But no, it's because if he had said anything, it would have given himself away. So Peter is not really Peter. This is the symbiote pretending to be Peter. And then we get fear is knowing it can all be taken away. And I was like, oh, that's really good. Happiness is being surrounded by people you love. Fear is knowing that it can all be taken away. And then that's when we get the epilogue where we see that Craven has captured Harry and Peter. And I was like, oh, that was such a damn good cliffhanger. That was so good. I love that. So I'm going to do a little bit of final thoughts with the spoiler before I go through to the non-spoiler final thoughts. So I love that reveal. I'm kind of curious to see what exactly is going on with symbiote Peter, because we did have an earlier conversation where Peter is like, hey, I need you to take care of the family, like if I'm gone or like if I'm away, like if I'm not around, I need you to make sure that they're okay. And Peter, a symbiote Peter, is not doing anything like bad for the family. Like he was pretty much acting like Peter as much as he can without talking to give himself away. And even when he is revealed, he still has a smile on his face and he says, Merry Christmas. It's just unsettling because his eyes are black and his voice is different, but he could just be genuine. Like, we have no idea. Or he could be evil. Again, we don't know. So I'm kind of curious to see what direction they go with this. Are they going to make the symbiotes AI Peter? Are they going to make him a bad guy? Are they going to make him the next Venom? Or are they going to make him good? It is interesting how earlier on, two of the people that didn't show up for the Christmas party were the Brocks. And anyone who knows, Eddie Brock is the host for Venom. So because the Brocks usually show up to MJ and Peter's family Christmas party. It makes me think that maybe him and Eddie have a pretty healthy, friendly relationship, which if he were to become Venom, why would he go after Peter? Like, there would have to be something different there. It also kind of seems like Peter is starting to work for the paper as opposed to like working for the Kingpin. So it's not like he could be stealing Eddie's job. So I'm kind of wondering, like, is Eddie even going to show up? I mean, this is just me theorizing because Eddie hasn't even made an appearance. The only thing that we get is just the mention of the Brocs, but we don't even see them because, again, they don't show up. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of wondering, like, are we going to get good Venom or bad Venom? And now for the non-spoiler final thoughts. I really enjoyed the hell out of this issue. Like, we had some cool family moments, which I absolutely love. Like, my favorite thing about the series is the fact that we get to see Mary Jane and Peter happily married with kids who adore them. And I love all the relationships that we have here. I love the fact that, we still have like the bickering and stuff and the family drama, but it's not like annoying family drama. Like, it's one of those where it's like Peter and MJ dealing with family drama from other family members, but they're dealing with it together as opposed to, the family drama causing them to have their own drama with each other. Like, I hate that. So I'm glad to not see that here. But I love the fact that we go from like nice Christmas family stuff and then we get the twist. I thought that was a very nice build up, especially like when you actually pay attention to the issue and you see all the times that Gwen's calling and it's kind of ignored, and you see Peter and the way he has been acting throughout this entire issue. It makes the reveal, like, it makes sense, but it's still a crazy twist because you're still not expecting it. But then when it does happen, you're like, oh, okay, I can see that now. Like, the pieces were there to set up for that twist. So it doesn't seem like the twist just comes out of nowhere. It's one of those where like it feels like it comes out of nowhere, but then if you reread it again, you're like, the setup is all there. You just don't realize it until the reveal happens. But now that you know the reveal, you can see it happen. So I thought that was really good writing. And of course, I enjoyed this artwork. Yeah, I thought this was awesome. This was a fantastic issue, and I am just loving the hell out of this series. There has not been a terrible issue yet. Even like the weakest issue in this series was still like an 8 out of 10. This is a phenomenal series. I think Hickman is freaking nailing it out of the park with this series, and I absolutely love it, and I highly recommend everybody read this. This is like the best Spider-Man series that I've read in a very, very long time. So yeah, there you go. There's Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 12 by Marvel Comics. Freaking amazing. Go check it out. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.